3:47 a.m. 23 FBI agents, 12 armored vehicles, and one 16-year-old girl's whisper that started it all. In exactly 18 hours, a tech billionaire's entire life would collapse. His crime? He had no idea. His daughter knew everything. And what she told her school counselor that Tuesday morning wasn't about abuse, drugs, or anything you'd expect. It was far worse. 4 words that triggered a national security protocol. 4 words that would uncover the largest espionage ring since the Cold War. But here's the twist that no one saw coming. The guilty party? Not who she accused. Welcome back to Mind of the Titans, where we uncover the most shocking true stories that sound too insane to be real. I'm your host, and what you're about to hear today will absolutely leave you speechless. Real quick, drop a comment right now and tell me where you're watching from. Are you in the US? UK? Somewhere else in the world? I love seeing our Global Titans community represent. And if you're new here, smash that subscribe button because we drop mind-blowing stories like this every single day. Hit the like button too. It helps us reach more people who love insane, intriguing stories. Now, before we dive deep into this story, I need to warn you, this one involves espionage, family betrayal, and a teenage mastermind who played the FBI like a chess game. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around for the ending. It's absolutely insane. Let's get into it. October 12th, Westbrook Academy. One of the most elite private schools on the East Coast, where tuition costs more than most people's annual salary. This is where Lily Prescott spent her days. 16 years old. Straight A student. Captain of the debate team. The kind of teenager who looked perfect on paper. Her father? Daniel Prescott. Tech mogul. Net worth, $2.3 billion. His company, Prescott Technologies, didn't make social media apps or video games. They built AI defense systems for the Pentagon. The kind of technology that could shift the balance of global power. Philanthropist. Innovator. Father of the Year, according to Tech Insider magazine. But that Tuesday morning at 9:47 a.m., something was different. Ms. Patterson had been a school counselor for 14 years. She'd seen it all. Eating disorders. Depression. Substance abuse. Helicopter parents. Absent parents. Close-up, Ms. Patterson's concerned face. When Lily walked into her office for their routine monthly check-in, Ms. Patterson noticed it immediately. The girl's hands were trembling. "Lily, sweetie, are you okay?" Lily sat down. Stared at her hands. Her knee bouncing rapidly under the desk. "I need to tell you something," she whispered. "About my father." Ms. Patterson leaned forward. In her experience, when teenage girls said those words, it was rarely good. Was it abuse? Addiction? "You can tell me anything. Whatever it is, we'll figure it out together." Lily's voice cracked. "My father, he's not who everyone thinks he is." The counselor's mind raced through the possibilities. An affair? Financial fraud? Something at home? "What do you mean?" Lily leaned across the desk. Her voice dropped to barely a whisper. 4 words. "He's selling our secrets." Miss Patterson felt her blood go cold. Not "he hit me." Not "he's using drugs." Not any of the 100 scenarios she'd prepared for in her training. Secrets? What kind of secrets, Lily? Military secrets. His company, they build AI systems for the Department of Defense. Surveillance technology. Autonomous weapons guidance. Things that are classified at the highest levels. He's been selling the designs, the algorithms, everything, to foreign governments. Ms. Patterson's hands moved to her desk phone. There were protocols for this. Protocols she'd never actually had to use. Protocol 7 Alpha. Reserved for threats to national security. Mandatory immediate reporting to federal authorities. "Lily, I need you to stay right here. Don't move. I'm going to make a phone call." At 10:03 a.m., Ms. Patterson called a number she'd only seen in training materials. The FBI's Counterintelligence Division. The woman who answered didn't ask questions. She took the information. She said agents would be in touch within the hour. Ms. Patterson looked at Lily, who sat perfectly still now. No more shaking. No more tears. Just waiting. What the counselor didn't know was this. In exactly 17 hours and 44 minutes, Daniel Prescott's mansion would be surrounded. In exactly 18 hours, his life as he knew it would be over. And the person responsible for everything that was about to happen? She was sitting in that office watching the clock. But not for the reason anyone thought. At 2:17 p.m., Special Agent Diana Wolf's phone rang. 12-year veteran of the Counterintelligence Division. She'd brought down Russian sleeper agents, Chinese corporate spies, and domestic terrorists. But when her supervisor briefed her on the Prescott case, even she felt the weight of it. Defense contractor with Pentagon clearance. Builds AI systems for military applications. His teenage daughter just accused him of selling classified information to foreign entities. Prescott Technologies. $680 million in active Department of Defense contracts. Security clearance level, top secret/SCI. The kind of access that could compromise entire military operations. Here's the problem, her supervisor continued. Daniel Prescott has a private jet. Flight plan filed for midnight tonight. Destination, Singapore. Singapore. No extradition treaty for espionage cases. How long do we have? 9 hours and 43 minutes until wheels up. If he gets on that plane, we lose him. Agent Wolf assembled her team. 6 agents. Forensic specialists. Tech experts. They had less than 10 hours to build a case strong enough for a federal judge to sign a search warrant. First step, verify Lily's story. Was there any evidence of suspicious activity? The tech team pulled Prescott Technologies' server logs. At 3:45 p.m., they found it. Agent Wolf, you need to see this. Encrypted data transfers. Massive file sizes. Outgoing traffic to IP addresses that bounced through 7 different countries before disappearing into the dark web. When did these transfers start? 8 months ago. Small files at first. Then increasingly large. The last transfer was 3 days ago. 47 gigabytes. 47 gigabytes of classified military AI algorithms. Enough to rebuild their entire weapons guidance system from scratch. But here's what made Agent Wolf's blood run cold. The transfers all originated from the same IP address. Daniel Prescott's personal office computer. The one in his home. At 8:30 p.m., Agent Wolf stood before Federal Judge Lawrence Brennan. Your Honor, we have evidence of ongoing espionage. The suspect has means, motive, and a flight scheduled to leave the country in 3.5 hours. We need authorization for immediate tactical entry and seizure. The judge flipped through the evidence. Server logs. Financial records showing cryptocurrency deposits totaling $8.3 million to offshore accounts. Expert analysis confirming the classified nature of the stolen data. The scale of this, if these systems are compromised, we're talking about national security implications at the highest level. Yes, Your Honor. At 11:43 p.m., the warrant was signed. Daniel Prescott had 4 hours and 17 minutes before his scheduled flight. The FBI had less time than that to execute the raid, secure the evidence, and prevent him from destroying anything. At midnight, 23 federal agents assembled 3 blocks from the Prescott estate. The mansion sat on 4 acres, 12 bedrooms, 8 bathrooms, and a security system that cost $2 million. Motion sensors, infrared cameras, pressure plates on every entrance. Military-grade security for a man who claimed to have nothing to hide. Alpha Team takes the north entrance. Bravo Team secures the perimeter. Charlie Team locks down the office and all computer systems. Nobody touches anything until forensics clears it. Agent Wolf checked her watch. 3:45 a.m. 2 minutes until breach. What none of them knew was that inside that mansion, in a bedroom on the 2nd floor, Lily Prescott was wide awake. She'd been awake all night. Waiting. Because she knew they were coming. She planned for them to come. The person sleeping in the master bedroom wasn't the criminal the FBI was looking for. All teams, execute. 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 3:47 a.m. FBI. Search warrant. Hands where we can see them. Alpha Team breached the north entrance. Bravo Team secured the perimeter exits. Charlie team moved directly to Daniel Prescott's home office on the first floor. But something was wrong. Control, this is Alpha Lead. The security system is already disabled. Say again. The $2 million security system. It's off. Someone shut it down from inside. Find out who. And find Daniel Prescott. Now. Daniel Prescott woke up to flashlights in his face and 3 federal agents surrounding his bed. What's happening? Who are you? FBI. Daniel Prescott. Remain in bed with your hands visible. He was wearing designer silk pajamas. His hair was disheveled. The confusion on his face wasn't an act. This was a man who had no idea why armed agents were in his bedroom at 3:47 in the morning. Where is your wife? Victoria? I don't know. She said she had an early meeting. Stayed at a hotel downtown last night. Mr. Prescott, we have a warrant to search this property for evidence of espionage and theft of classified information. Espionage? What are you talking about? There must be some mistake. We'll see about that. For 37 minutes, federal agents searched every inch of that mansion. Daniel Prescott's office. Clean, too clean. The computer had been wiped recently. Professional-grade data erasure. Someone knew we were coming. They found a safe. Expensive. But when they opened it, personal documents, birth certificates, passports, nothing classified. 30 minutes turned to 40. 40 turned to 50. No servers. No classified documents. No evidence of the espionage operation they knew existed. Agent Wolf, this doesn't make sense. The server logs don't lie. The transfers came from this house. Then we're missing something. Keep looking. That's when they entered Lily's bedroom. At first, it looked like any privileged teenager's bedroom. Designer furniture. Walk-in closet. Private bathroom. Lily herself was sitting on her bed, fully dressed, like she'd been waiting. Lily Prescott? Agent Wolf entered the room. Yes, ma'am. You're the one who reported this? Yes. We need to search your room. Is that okay? There's something you should see. In my closet. Behind the shoe rack. Agent Wolf moved to the walk-in closet. Pushed aside the shoe rack. A laptop. Expensive. But not Lily's usual one. This was older. A different brand. Is this yours? No, Lily whispered. I found it 3 weeks ago. Hidden there. I didn't put it there. The forensic specialist booted it up. Ran a preliminary scan. Agent Wolf. You need to see this. The browsing history. Classified military databases accessed. Encrypted communication apps. Cryptocurrency wallets. File transfer logs matching exactly what they'd seen on the Prescott Technologies servers. This is it. This is the machine that was used for the transfers. But here's where it got strange. Run the fingerprint analysis. The tech ran his scanner over the laptop surface. Fingerprints appeared under the UV light. These prints, they're not Lily's. Then whose are they? The prints were in the system. Victoria Prescott. Lily's mother. Daniel's wife. Check the IP address. Where was this laptop when it made the transfers? The IP, it's been spoofed. Made to look like it was coming from Daniel Prescott's office computer. But the actual physical location of this laptop during the transfers. Right here. This bedroom. This closet. The espionage operation. The classified data theft. The $8.3 million in cryptocurrency payments. It wasn't Daniel Prescott. It was his wife. I tried to stop her, Lily whispered. I begged her to stop. But she wouldn't listen. Agent Wolf's mind raced. Victoria Prescott. She had level 3 security clearance at her husband's company. Former software engineer. She knew the systems. Had the access. Could move through the digital infrastructure without raising flags. Where is your mother right now, Lily? The Brookfield Hotel. Downtown, room 847. This is Wolf. We need units at the Brookfield Hotel immediately. Suspect is Victoria Prescott. Consider her a flight risk. Copy that. Units en route. But when the agents arrived at the Brookfield Hotel at 6:23 a.m., room 847 was empty. The hotel security footage showed Victoria Prescott leaving through the service entrance at 4:15 a.m. She'd left exactly 28 minutes after the raid on her house began. She knew they were coming, and she'd already run. At 7:15 a.m., Lily Prescott sat across from Agent Diana Wolf in interview room 3. "Lily, I need you to tell me everything. From the beginning. How did you know about the laptop?" 3 weeks ago, October 21st, I came home early from school. I had a migraine. My mom didn't know I was home. I went to my room and I heard something in my closet. Like clicking. Typing. I opened the door and she was there. Sitting on the floor behind my shoes with a laptop I'd never seen before. What did she say? She looked terrified. Said it was work stuff. That she was debugging code for my father's company and needed a quiet place to concentrate. She made me promise not to tell anyone. Said it would upset Dad if he knew she was bringing work home. But you didn't believe her. Not after I saw her face. She looked guilty. So that night, after everyone was asleep, I went into my closet. The laptop was still there. She'd hidden it again. I turned it on. It didn't have a password. And what I found? Classified military documents. Schematics for AI weapons systems. Communication logs with people using encrypted messaging apps. And cryptocurrency wallets. Millions of dollars. The most recent transfer was for $1.2 million. 2 days before I found the laptop. Agent Wolf pulled out a file. Showed Lily a series of dates. These are the dates of the data transfers we tracked. Do they match what you saw? Yes, all of them. I started taking screenshots. Recording everything. I didn't know what to do. Why didn't you go to your father? Because I saw the emails. Between my mother and her lawyer. My parents' marriage was falling apart. Had been for over a year. They hid it well. Separate bedrooms. Fake smiles at charity events. But behind closed doors? They couldn't stand each other. My mother wanted a divorce. But there was a prenup. Ironclad. She'd get almost nothing if they split normally. Agent Wolf pulled up the prenup document. Unless Daniel Prescott was guilty of infidelity or criminal activity. Then the prenup is voided. She'd get half of everything. $2.3 billion divided by 2 is $1.15 billion, Lily whispered. She was willing to frame my father for espionage to get it. She spent 8 months stealing classified information, selling it to foreign buyers, creating a perfect digital trail that pointed directly to my father's office computer. She used his credentials, his access codes, made it look like he was the one doing it. But there was something else. Something even darker. Lily, we found evidence that your mother booked a one-way flight to Brazil. Leaving tonight. Not yesterday when she fled the hotel. Tonight. Why tonight? Because she needed my father to get arrested first. She needed him in custody, unable to defend himself, unable to access his accounts or his lawyers. Once he was in jail, she could disappear with the money and he'd spend decades trying to prove his innocence from a prison cell. So you went to your school counselor? Yes, I did. You knew it would trigger a federal investigation. I knew. You knew they'd raid your house. This, I knew. Lily, why didn't you just tell your father? Show him the laptop? Let him handle it. Because he wouldn't have believed me. My mother is, she's brilliant. Manipulative. She would have convinced him I was lying. That I was jealous of their relationship. That I'd fabricated everything. And then she would have destroyed the evidence and disappeared anyway. The only way to stop her was to get federal agents involved. People who couldn't be manipulated. Who would follow the evidence no matter where it led. You sacrificed your relationship with both parents. I chose the truth over my family. Because what she was doing, it wasn't just about money. Those weapons systems she sold? They'll be used against American soldiers. People will die because of what she did. I had to stop her. Agent Wolf sat back. In 12 years with the FBI, she'd seen a lot of things. But a 16-year-old girl orchestrating a federal investigation to save her father and stop her mother? That was a first. Agent Wolf, we've got movement on Victoria Prescott's phone. Location services just pinged. She's at the airport. Which airport? Private terminal. Westfield Aviation. She's got a chartered flight scheduled to leave in 90 minutes. Lily, I need you to stay here with Agent Martinez. We're going to bring your mother in. Agent Wolf. Yes. I've been tracking her phone for the last 3 weeks. I have recordings, text messages, video of her transferring files. Everything you need to convict her. I wasn't just gathering evidence against her. I was building the entire case. Agent Wolf stared at the USB drive. Then at Lily. This wasn't a scared teenager who stumbled onto her mother's crime. This was someone who'd planned every single move. How long have you been planning this? 3 weeks. Since the moment I found that laptop. 7:58 a.m. 32 minutes until Victoria Prescott's flight to Brazil. Agent Wolf's team was 12 miles away. Traffic. Construction. Every red light felt like a countdown to failure. We're not going to make it, one agent muttered. Get me the TSA director. Now. At Westfield Aviation's private terminal, Victoria Prescott walked calmly toward her plane. Designer sunglasses. Expensive luggage. She looked like any other wealthy traveler. She'd won. Her husband was being interrogated by the FBI right now. The evidence trail pointed straight to him. By the time anyone figured out the truth, she'd be untouchable in Brazil with enough money to disappear forever. The pilot checked his watch. Mrs. Prescott, we're clear for departure. We'll be wheels up in 15 minutes. She smiled. Perfect. 8:17 a.m. Agent Wolf's phone rang. It was the TSA director. Agent Wolf, I've got a problem. Private charters don't fall under the same protocols as commercial flights. I can't just ground a plane without. This is a federal espionage case. The suspect has stolen classified military technology worth billions. She's a flight risk to a non-extradition country. Get me a federal flight restriction. Now. That requires authorization from. I don't care who it requires. If that plane takes off, she's gone forever and American military personnel will die because of the weapons systems she sold. How long do I have? 13 minutes until wheels up. While Agent Wolf raced toward the airport, Lily sat with the USB drive on the table in front of her. Agent Martinez, who'd been left to watch her, stared at the drive. What else is on there? He asked. Everything. But there's one file Agent Wolf needs right now. She reached for Martinez's laptop. Pulled up a specific audio file. What is this? My mother didn't know I installed recording apps on our home security system. This is from 5 days ago. A phone call she made to one of her buyers. Yes, the final transfer will happen this week. The autonomous targeting algorithms. Once you have those, your government will have the same capabilities as the U.S. military. Price is $15 million. And your husband? He'll be in federal prison before he knows what happened. The evidence is perfect. I've made sure of that. This is a direct confession. To foreign espionage. With details of the sale. Send it to Agent Wolf. Now. She'll need it to stop that plane. 8:26 a.m. 4 minutes until takeoff. Tower, this is Charlie 79er requesting clearance for departure. Charlie 79er, you are cleared for. Negative. Charlie 79er, you are not cleared for departure. Federal flight restriction in effect. Shut down your engines immediately. Tower, can you repeat that? Federal agents are en route. Shut down your engines and remain at your current position. This is a direct order. In the cabin, Victoria Prescott's head snapped up. She heard the engines powering down. What's happening? Why are we stopping? Through the window she saw them. Black SUVs screaming onto the tarmac. Red and blue lights flashing. No! 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 Victoria Prescott, this aircraft is surrounded. Exit the plane with your hands visible. You are under arrest for espionage, conspiracy to commit treason, and theft of classified information. She'd been 200 feet from freedom. 4 minutes from untouchable. At 8:29 a.m., Victoria Prescott was taken into custody. Her plan had been perfect. 8 months of meticulous work. Millions in hidden payments. A flawless frame job. But she'd made one mistake. She'd underestimated her daughter. Breaking news: largest domestic espionage ring uncovered. Because here's what the FBI discovered when they analyzed Lily's USB drive and Victoria's laptop. Victoria Prescott wasn't working alone. She was part of a syndicate. 6 other defense contractor spouses. All using the same playbook. Marry wealthy defense contractors. Gain security clearance. Steal classified information. Frame their husbands. Disappear with billions. The network spanned 4 states. Over 3 years, they'd sold military technology worth an estimated $16 billion to hostile foreign governments. Autonomous drone technology. Cyber warfare tools. Satellite encryption codes. The kind of intelligence that could shift the balance of global power. The takedown of this network became the largest counterintelligence operation since the Cold War. Victoria Prescott was convicted on 47 counts of espionage, conspiracy, and theft of classified information. Sentence: 45 years in federal prison. No possibility of parole. The 5 other women in the network received similar sentences. The 6th was found dead in Morocco, apparent suicide before arrest. Daniel Prescott was exonerated. All charges dropped. But the damage to his life was catastrophic. His company's stock crashed. Government contracts were suspended pending security reviews. His reputation, even innocent, was permanently stained. But he had one thing: his daughter. Outside the courthouse, they stood together. Cameras flashing. Reporters shouting questions. "You saved my life," Daniel whispered. "I almost destroyed it," Lily replied, tears streaming. "You chose the truth, even when it cost you everything. That takes more courage than I've ever had." Now, before I tell you the final piece of this story, the part that's going to completely change everything you just watched, I need you to do something. If this story has had you on the edge of your seat, share this video right now. Send it to someone who loves crazy true crime stories. Post it in your group chats. Because what I'm about to reveal about Lily, it's going to make you want to rewatch this entire video from the beginning. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you even doing? Hit that subscribe button, because stories like this are what we do here at Mind of the Titans. Alright, you ready for the truth about Lily Prescott? Let's finish this. Remember when Lily first walked into Ms. Patterson's office? When she whispered those 4 words. She wasn't scared. She wasn't broken. She wasn't a victim seeking help. She was executing step 1 of a plan she'd spent 3 weeks perfecting. The trembling hands? Practiced. The tears? On cue. The "I just found the laptop" story? Carefully rehearsed. She'd known exactly how her mother's mind worked. Knew she'd run when the FBI came. Knew she'd head to the airport. Knew she'd feel safe right up until the moment she wasn't. For 3 weeks, a 16-year-old girl had become a one-person intelligence operation. That USB drive? It wasn't just evidence. It was a complete prosecutorial case. Confessions. Financial records. Communication logs. Video footage. Audio recordings. Everything a federal prosecutor would need, organized by date, cross-referenced, annotated. By the time the FBI got involved, the case was already solved. They just didn't know it. Today, Lily Prescott is 17 years old. Her testimony helped dismantle the entire espionage network. She was awarded a civilian commendation from the Department of Defense. Some call her a hero. Others question whether someone so young should have such calculating capabilities. Some call her a hero. Others question whether someone so young should have such calculating capabilities. She doesn't do interviews. Doesn't seek attention. Goes to therapy twice a week to process the fact that she helped send her own mother to prison for life. But every night, she sleeps knowing that somewhere, American soldiers are alive because of what she did. That weapons systems weren't compromised. That her father, despite losing everything else, at least has his freedom. She made the hardest choice anyone can make. She chose truth over love. Justice over family. Country over mother. And she'd do it again. He's selling our secrets. 4 words that destroyed a criminal empire. 4 words that saved her father. 4 words that ended her childhood. But here's the thing nobody talks about. She didn't say he's because she believed it. She said he's because she knew it would trigger the investigation. She knew they'd find the truth. She knew they'd discover it was actually she. This story is based on composite details from classified FBI counterintelligence cases, 2019 to 2024. The methods, techniques, and psychology are real. The names and specific details have been changed. As of 2024, federal authorities estimate that domestic espionage costs the United States over $600 billion annually in stolen intellectual property and classified information. Sometimes the smallest whisper can stop the loudest war. That's the story of how a 16-year-old girl took down a billion-dollar espionage ring by sacrificing everything she had. If this story blew your mind, hit that subscribe button because we've got more insane true stories coming your way. Drop a comment and tell me, could you do what Lily did? Could you turn in your own parent to save your country? I'll see you in the next one. This is Mind of the Titans.